Hey guys, welcome back. We got to see the first episode of From season three, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, so if you haven't watched it and you're up to par on this show, go watch it. Go watch it before you watch this or watch anybody's. Go watch some other stuff first. So, um, with that, okay, I want to assume everybody's watched it at this point. To me, the episode was really slow until the end, but man, was I not! I was not expecting that a lot of the things we saw in the trailer was actually going to be the first episode. Um, Usually that there's a lot going on in the first episodes. Obviously, right now we're finding out they got food. Their cows, their animals have been pretty much let go. They're being toyed with these creatures that come out at night. There's those weird doll things like uh, I don't know what that is. Standing out in the woods, something new. Not a Not a lot. There was a lot going on, but a lot of it was from the first or from the trailer was on here. We see what's going on with the wife back in regular life. She made it out of whatever they were in, right? And she made it back and she's trying to puzzle things, put things together on her end, but she's looking like she's lost it. What's crazy is I don't know how many days have passed since this show started. But basically, season two started right where season one left. This one started right where season two left. I mean, I don't think this show's only taking place in a couple of weeks range right now. So it seems like everything's happened over just a few weeks, all these. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll have to investigate that. With that, we're gonna go ahead and watch this breakdown theories and clues video, and um, yeah, we'll watch it together and see what's going on.
Round up your cows and put Grandma to bed. It's time for yet another season of From, where my head explodes because this show is absolutely insane. For those of you new to these videos, this is a breakdown of all the biggest theories, mysteries, and hidden details found in the episode. I also have a full season 2 video for those of you wanting to brush up, which I'll leave a link to in the comments below. And before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe and leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We start right where we left off at the end of season 2 with Tabitha at St. Anthony's Hospital. A fitting name since St. Anthony is the patron saint of lost things. We also get a location at Camden, Maine, but just how Tabitha got here after being shoved from the lighthouse by the boy in white is still unknown. But it can't be a coincidence that she just so happens to be brought to Victor's hometown. We'll later see that the lunchbox has his home address, a home address where Tabitha will meet Victor's father. This all seems to be part of the boy in white's plan. Shortly before pushing Tabitha from the lighthouse, he says, "Sorry, this is all part of the plan." The boy in white can see into the future. He was the one who told Victor of the attack on Colony House in season 1.
Yeah, so everything right here is pretty self-explanatory. We're just going to keep running until he starts hitting theories and things like that. This is just kind of a basic rundown.
Also seems to be the opposing force to the evil entity controlling the town, the one that manifested as Boyd's wife at the end of season 2. Now Tabitha will see this boy in white in Maine, but it's unclear whether or not this is simply a figment of her imagination, or if this boy can traverse the real world and from town. Speaking of the real world, Tabitha calls her mother to let her know she's okay, but holds off on telling her about her whereabouts. Tabitha
That right there makes you think, okay, she did make it back to the real world at that moment.
His priority here is finding a way to get her family home, and getting others involved would only jeopardize this as they would likely find her story crazy. What I'm really curious about is how long she's been gone. Does time work differently in Fromtown, or is it the same as our own? Remember that Victor told us the seasons hadn't changed in ages, so perhaps time is different there too. Tabitha, completely lost, ventures to a nearby church where she confesses.
So that part, I'm going to pause them on there. There is a nurse, and I forget her name, but her fiance said she's been gone 6 months, and the nurse says she was gone pretty much six months. So I think time is running together in the same process. I don't think there's any delay in time just because of how those two match up for the time. They've already mentioned it. It sounds like time is running as normal.
To the priest that it feels like her mind is breaking. She says that if there is a God, then he made a horrible place with pain and suffering, and blames God for her child, Thomas, falling off the change table to his death. Her journey leads to Victor's childhood home, where we're introduced to Victor.
So basically, she's blaming others for her mistakes. I mean, it's unfortunate. Like they tell the story, the baby rolled off the changing bed, but that was her and Jim's. Like that was their choices that created that outcome. Not so. Just want to make that clear. It wouldn't have been God's decision. That was their actions that led to those consequences. No reason to blame somebody else for that.
Victor's father. Not much is known about him, but he certainly recognizes Victor's disco lunchbox. It seems as though Papa Victor wasn't with his wife Miranda and two children, Victor and Eloise, the day they got transported to Frumtown, and judging by his haggard look, demeanor, and six-pack of beer, he may have turned to alcohol to cope with the pain of this loss. Boyd certainly has had a rough.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean yet that the mother hasn't made it home. Um, we don't know that yet, but we gotta assume she didn't make it. My thought is she may have made it, but and she may have, right? She may still have made it. There was a lot of drawings, I think, in his basement on one trailer. So I still think maybe the mother, Victor's mother, made it back.
Go of it after being shot by Reggie, who believed Boyd caused all the town's hardship by venturing into the forest at the end of season 1. He's been haunted by the ghost of Father Catry. Whatever evil entity has its grasp over Frumtown has the ability to take the shape of dead characters. In the season 2 finale, we saw it take the form of Boyd's dead wife, who eerily stated,
"It's not your fear that feeds the forest, boy. It's hope."
So this really begs the question, what side is the ghost of Father Catry on? Now there are two other issues that are still unresolved from season 2. None of the three townsfolk who fell into these comas want to talk about their experiences, and it's yet to be explained how Boyd destroying the music box broke them from this spell. But more pressing is the issue of food. All their crops have rotted away, with Donna exclaiming that the soil is poison. To make
Yeah, all the food's poisoned, right? And that led to the interest of eating the animals.
matters worse, the townsfolk have raided Tian Chen's food stores and stolen the remaining food. Randall even tries to steal a goat, and Boyd is stuck in the middle trying to keep the town from falling into chaos. According to Donna, the cows could last them about a month if they had to resort to eating them, so things are looking pretty dire. The weather also looks to be turning to winter, something Victor says is strange, for any time the town changes, something bad happens. But Boyd's problems really take a turn for the worse when the monsters let loose the cattle. It becomes a sort of race against time to return the animals before they go missing or are slaughtered. At the same
This is where the episode really picked up for the last few minutes.
time, Sarah helps Julie and Ethan hide from the old lady monster. The last time we saw Sarah was at the dungeon ruins in season 2, where she told Boyd that the town's evil entity is laughing at him for setting it free. Boyd and Tien manage to get one of the cows in the barn and place a talisman on the door, thinking they are safe, but unfortunately the monsters have all.
Okay, this leads me to the next question on this. Can they get out of that barn? The barn's locked up and there's a talisman. They can't get in, but the question is, can they get out? Can they knock that talisman on the ground and break their way out? Like, how are they going to get out?
Already made their way inside. Therefore, the talisman does not work. Among them is a cowboy monster who somehow knows the lines Boyd screamed in the forest after he made his way out of the dungeon in the season 2 finale.
You don't break me!
Boyd tries to fight them off.
So, what that makes me think is, I don't know, that is interesting because I wasn't thinking that part, but that is interesting how they knew.
Off, and notice how one of these monsters slashes his left shoulder, the same shoulder he received the gunshot wound. Whether that's just a coincidence or has some further meaning is yet to be known. There's also the added aspect of Boyd's blood. In Season 2, he was infected with some sort of parasitic worm, which made his blood poisonous to the monsters. Could this worm have left antibodies in his blood that might continue to help him? But it's Kenny's poor mother, Tien Chen, who seems to face the brunt of the monster's attack, making Boyd watch as they torture her. This is what the monsters made the girl in the woods with the nail in her head do in Season.
Yeah, Season 2, they kind of led up to this whole concept, right? Because I believe it was that cowboy that was hunting her as well.
Season 2. Now, we never actually see her die, so there's still the possibility she'll be alive, but it doesn't look good. Jim and Kenny have their own adventure this episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to kill her, right? And it looks like they're toying with him, and that kind of goes to what we saw in the trailer with him trying to get in the ambulance, and they're trying to give him his keys, and they're pretty much just, for them, they like tormenting that guy. That's the guy that it sounds like they're going to torment him by setting traps and trying to convince others. They got all that rotten food. They needed the animals. Now they're really in trouble for food. I can see a lot of people are gonna, like, I can imagine a lot of people are gonna die in this season, but maybe not main characters, but there's a lot of people I imagine are gonna start dropping.
As they begin their quest to find Tabitha. Boyd even gives them some pointers on how to get to the mysterious lighthouse which he saw in Season 1. If they find their way to Spiderweb Forest, they're on the right track. Now, even though Jim and Kenny follow the right path, they're led to an entirely new area. This leads me to believe the forest is constantly changing.
I can agree with that. That maybe things are changing as well. Or maybe he didn't actually. Well, he got bit by the spiders, so they weren't real.
Remember that Victor took measurements of the trees and found that they had moved. A new location we haven't seen yet are these 3 log cabins. No one in town has ever mentioned these before, and it appears as if they're from pioneer times. Remember back in Tabitha's Dream from Season 1, we saw these carvings of different dates, which could mean the town has been around since at least 1506. We also have these absolutely creepy statues like they came off the set of the Blair Witch Project. There's even one that has nails hammered into its head.
Now that, I'm very curious on what built those, because I don't think that was the things that come out at night. I think it was something else.
Similar to that girl we met.
It could have been do you know how people, when they get like birds and pigeons and things, they get in their barn, they put an owl on top, like an owl statue to try to keep those birds and stuff away, but sometimes you'll still see the pigeons and stuff all flock. I would imagine, like, right off my first thought is that is like a threat, like almost like a warning. I would take those as a warning. That's kind of what I think of.
Met in the forest. I think it's a safe way to say that these are more of a warning than a welcome sign. Jim hasn't really been the smartest when it comes to making plans, and he thinks it's a great idea to set up a camp in one of these cabins by the creepy statues. At night, they're interrupted by a strange noise outside, but luckily they have that talisman to keep them safe.
Now, we don't know what's outside that door. I don't think it was one of these guys who were able to said hello or something. Whatever was out there, I don't think it was one of these other creatures.
We never find out what caused this noise. Is it one of the monsters, or could it be one of the animals that got loose, which may alert Kenny and Jim to head back to town? Jim, after all, does make the decision to discontinue his journey for fear of leaving his kids without a parent. Colony House is a new resident bitch.
It's bad enough you're...
Yeah, so this chick, I don't think she's going to make it to the end of the season. I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on her because she has to go to the bathroom. You gotta go to the bathroom, right? But I don't know if she's gonna make. I don't think she's gonna make it. She just doesn't look like a character that's gonna make it.
You're getting double rations without you hogging the bathroom.
This is Nikki, and I hope she gets eaten very soon. She's waiting for Fatima, who's been experiencing morning sickness, the result of her pregnancy. A pregnancy that wasn't supposed to be possible after being told in the real world that.
And it's only been like 3 or 4 days since they got married.
she would never be able to have kids. It's long been theorized that the drowned woman who haunts Elgin is Fatima, considering they wear very similar clothing, although it should be noted that in the end credits, the woman playing her is Asian and is credited as Kimono Woman. The only other real connection we have of Fatima and water comes in season 1 when Ellis tells her to get into the water because she's too dry. Could this have been some foreshadowing?
Yeah, you just look too dry. Come here.
What do you guys think? Is the drowned woman Fatima? Let me know in the comments.
I can see the familiarities. It does look. I can see why people would say that, but I didn't know about that. That is interesting.
Elgin doesn't want to sleep, as the drowned woman only seems to appear in his dreams. Elgin has some sort of connection with dreams. In fact, he had a prophetic dream that foretold his arrival to Fromtown. So I think that's something we'll see explored more this season. For those of you
Her, I would say this before he says anything. I don't know, man. I like her character, but I think there's more to her than what we're seeing.
who have seen my previous videos, you know I'm really suspicious of Tilly. She tells Ellis that she gave birth to 7 kids and was totally fine, so Fatima will be too. It's 7 kids that Jade found in the cave last season. If you want a full breakdown of why I think Tilly is suspicious, do check out my season 2 ending explained video, which I'll leave a link to in the comments below. The last person I want to talk about is Jade. Season 2 saw him get increasingly obsessed with this symbol, and the last time we saw him he had ventured into the cave and found those creepy children on stone slabs repeating the word Ankui, a word we have yet to decipher. He's drunk and frustrated because he's not sure what the children were trying to tell him. He seems a little more with it when he gets out of the drunk tank, but I'm curious where his story goes considering there haven't been any more clues. Now this is part of the video where we look at the trailer to see if there are any clues on where the show is headed, so if you want to turn away now, you've been warned. I won't be looking at
All right, guys, we'll keep going. We're almost through this. Only about 2 minutes left.
every clip, just the ones I think are relevant for future episodes. Well, it looks like Boyd makes it out of the barn. Here we see him alongside Jade carrying what is likely the corpse of Tien Chen. Jade finds this one-eyed man in the forest who will later see drinking from a skull. Later on, it looks as though he attacks Jade. I wonder if this guy
I thought that could have been Kenny that was on that wagon, but with him out of town, that makes some sense.
is in any way connected to the log cabins Jim and Kenny found. Here we have Tabitha and Victor's father underneath a bottle tree. The bottle tree in Fromtown is where Victor found his dead mother, and it also acts as a faraway tree which transports people to the lighthouse. Beside a wall of family photos featuring young Victor and Eloise, Victor's father says he thinks Tabitha is here for what's in the basement. This basement has all sorts of paintings of the Ankui children, more than likely painted by Victor's father. Maybe he has the answers to what Ankui means. Here's a shot of what appears to be a funeral, most likely Tien Chen's. And who is this? There's a monster behind her. Maybe this is someone new coming to town. If you zoom in on her patch, you can make out what appears to be a boat, and if you cross-reference this with Camden, Maine's police patches, they look eerily similar. We'll also see this ambulance from Knox County, the county where Camden is located. So episode 1
Man, he definitely dug into that trailer, didn't he?
ends on an insane cliffhanger. Tien Chen could be dead, Boyd is cuffed by the monsters, and the last of the town's food supply is taking off into the forest. It's gonna take something big to set our heroes back on the right track, and I hope.
So when they slit the throat of that cow, they're just making people more desperate. Making them more desperate and making them more dire. They don't want to get comfortable, right? They've been comfortable. They're trying to really break these people down, and I think that has something to do with the rotten food, the cows, right? They slit the throat of the cow. They could have got Jaden, but they went for the cow, which means they're. I guess it seems like it's prepping up to something big.
You'll consider liking and subscribing for more From videos. But now I turn it over to you. What do you think will happen next? I want to hear your thoughts and theories.
All right. Well, guys, that is it for that. So, it looks like he does really good. He's got a lot of views in the first hour. Gonna give him a like for sure. I'm gonna put a link to this video in the description if you want to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with some of the things he said. except for the time. I think time is equal here and out from the way things sound. Um, I think right now we're only a couple of weeks from the first episode, like into this. I will have to go back, watch the episodes, and take a break, like take a point from day one, day two, and see what day we're on. I don't even know if we made it to day 14, but there it is. With that, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and check in the description. I'll have a link to this if you want to check it out, or check out any other videos that guy has. So, speak to you guys soon.